Namaste and welcome to another round of guided meditation. Today we're going to do a very simple and more inquiry based practice. So we can actually start with just trying to become aware of our body. So let us just practice just a few basic pranayam techniques. And in this pranayam technique, we just take in a deep breath as usual. And towards the exhalation, once you have finished your exhalation, you just make a little effort to push it out, like something like this, like that. So we do that 3 times. So just take a deep breath and then exhale naturally. And towards the end of exhalation, you can just push it out a little bit. So once more. And on the exhalation, you can just exhale a little forcibly. And once more, exhale. Now we can do the same thing with alternate nostrils. So we breathe in with one nostril and breathe out through the other one. And here again, towards the end, we exhale a little forcibly. So this alternate nostril breathing kind of balances the energy in the body. And that little forcible exhalation towards the end helps to dispel out any kind of negative energy that might be in the body. So with this, we actually start our actual practice of meditation. So you can just start with the right intention. The first aspect of our practice is to have the right intention and purpose, why we want to practice. So you can take any simple thing that you feel you will benefit from meditation, anything that you feel can actually help you and the people around you. So just reiterate inwardly that intention, why you're practicing. And then you say a little prayer to whatever form or formless aspect of God or greater being that you can relate to. And that helps to also open up our hearts and minds. So we can do these 2 things. So start with an intention and say a little prayer for a couple of minutes. Now, as we begin our second part of the meditation practice, you can just try to reiterate again the intention. And here the intention is that a little different, wherein we kind of affirm that by nature we are connecting to that pure goodness and wholeness within us. So we are not doing this meditation to become something, but we are doing this meditation to reconnect back to our innate purity, innate goodness, and to the innate quality of unconditional love that is already within us. But because of all the day to day transactions and day to day life, we get identified with the limitations of our own body, limitations of our own minds, and generally the limitations in the environment. And so our interaction on a daily basis with people and the situations we go through, those all affect us and make us feel that there's something wrong with us. So we start with this affirmation that there is this innate purity and goodness in us, kind of that purity within us. And so we abide in that inner goodness, that inner purity with us. So, in that sense, meditation is not trying to fix something, but to reconnect us back to that. So, with that, we try to just take in that attitude and we try to absorb that in our hearts and minds. So, today we will bring our attention at the point between the eyebrows. We don't need to physically focus there. We can just lift our eyes a little upward and then feel that we are just kind of focused at that point. So it's more of an intuitive feel that there is that point you're focusing on. So there's no strain of the eyes in trying to focus at that point. You just lift your eyes a little bit slightly without much strain and try to see if you can hold it at that point. And then from that point, you feel that presence of your own innate pure nature, yourself. And see if you can connect to it as anything, if you can feel or visualize some kind of a light there. Feel that light is originating from there and that it is pervading your whole body, filling your body with the pure divine light. So you can kind of affirm to yourself that I am reconnecting back to my own inner and pure nature. I'm reconnecting to my inner strength. I'm reconnecting to my divine nature. So you don't have to keep on repeating that. A few times you can just kind of mentally say that and connect back to that. See if you can, when you focus at that point, feel any presence in your heart. This presence of your own higher nature, your own connection with the divine. You can try to feel that as you focus at the point between the eyebrows in your heart. It takes sometimes a little bit of faith, a little bit of at least a positive skepticism that you have that divine nature and that you can connect to that. Again, you can just affirm a few times that I'm reconnecting back to my divine nature, that I don't need to do anything, that it's already here, that I don't have to become something, but that I'm already that pure unconditional nature, that nature of unconditional love. Now, with that, slowly become aware of the natural breathing rhythm in the body, of the inhalation and exhalation without trying to change or force anything. Just become aware. Now, for today, instead of following the breath closely, we're trying to focus on the witness of the breath. So you can just gently try to turn that attention from the breathing to that aspect of witnessing of the breath. There is someone or something or some entity that you can feel is watching the breath. See if you can gently turn your attention to that. If you feel a little confused, then just stay with the breath. Then go back to watching the breath, to being with the breath. So keep switching back and forth. Try to follow the breath for a few times, staying with the breath. Then try to, at some point, gently make an inquiry and ask yourself who is watching the breath or what is watching the breath. And try to see if you can turn your attention to that entity which is watching the breath. Just do that for a minute or two and then come back to being with the breath. So, at your own pace, you can alternate between these two. You can also turn your attention from being with the breath to watching that gap in between the breath. And there too, you can ask that question who is aware of that gap in between the breath? And see if you can sense that sense of witnessing, of being aware of that gap in between the breath. So, this is that subject object aspect of meditation. There is a meditator and there is that object that is being meditated upon. So, in the meditation, we generally tend to focus only on that object of meditation, which is the breath. But in certain traditions, when the people are ready, they direct them to turn their attention to becoming aware of the subject of the meditator, which is the meditator. So we switch between watching the object of meditation to becoming aware of the subject of meditation, which is that meditator. And if you feel confused, you just go back and rest with that object. But if you can switch back, then switch back to becoming aware of the subject of meditation. Each day, when we practice this, we get a little better understanding. We get a little better ability to do this. So try for another few minutes to just being with the breath, to switching for just a few seconds and becoming aware of the one who is aware of the breath. If you feel that there are any thoughts that is diverting your attention, you can just also ask yourself who is aware of those thoughts? What is it that is aware of these thoughts? And see if you can switch that attention to that witnessing of even those thoughts. But don't keep on analyzing. Come back to the breath. Stay with the breath and use that as the main support or practice for now. Just for the last couple of minutes, try to deepen your attention, deepen your attention on watching that breath, but use a different approach. approach of switching attention to that witness. There has to be some entity that is aware of the breathing. How do we know that we are breathing? What does that entity look like? Can we objectify it? If we try to objectify that entity too much, in other words, if we try to figure it out mentally, then that also becomes another object. What is the nature of this subject? Can we try to put a name, shape, form, color, or any specific objectification? Or is it beyond all that? How do we know this entity? How do we see this entity? How do we acquaint ourselves with it? So you can just gently ask this question, no need to intellectually figure out everything. When you ask the question, then somehow over time, with practice and understanding, the answer comes. Answer comes to your own realization. This is that direct realization. So just try to see if you can switch back, turn back that attention from the breath to the one that is being aware of the breath. If you make that intention clear, the purpose of meditation clear, then you can use that intention and purpose to also bring your attention back to your practice. Your practice will result in natural understanding, a sense of peace, a sense of abiding, if you make that effort on a regular basis. So just reiterate the purpose of your meditation and bring your focus back to merely being here, being present with the breath for just one more minute. Now you can drop your attention to the point in the chest area, center of the chest area, and say a prayer of gratitude, a sense of well being, and saying a prayer of well wish to everyone, to all those who are close to you, who are far away from you, all those who need help, who need support, who need mental strength. You can make a sincere intention of well being for everyone. So today's practice, which I guided you all, was a little bit more, probably might be a little bit more advanced, but it's also a step in the practice that as we do, we become get more clarity about. Because um, the more we understand what is happening in meditation, what are the different components of meditation, the quicker we can actually dive in into the meditation, also the faster we can actually get the results out of it. And once we start getting those results, we also get the conviction to want to do meditation, which will reiterate back our purpose and intention in wanting to meditate. So, this is why the practice of meditation has to be number one, on a regular basis. And number two, it has to be also done with some understanding. And that's why in the earlier series of 7, 8 videos, I gave a lot of instructions. It's good to go back to them and watch it as and when you have time. At least go through that instruction part of the video. And of course, the most important thing when you do practice of meditation is actually to be able to also apply it in your life. Because if you see some value, if you are able to hold on to some peace or some sense of awareness, some sense of transformation in your daily life, then you will actually be able to connect the meditation with your life, and it will no longer become like a something that you have to do separately to actually take out your time. It will then become something like you do naturally, like eating your food, or all those things which you need are your daily supplements for operating in your daily life. So with that, I hope you can join me every day at 7:15 on my YouTube channel. And just before I start, I would actually be able to send you the link to some people if you like. And my best wishes, I pray that you may remain safe, healthy, and positive. Namaste.